it's unfortunately the world we live in. The more you have more vendors proliferating into a space that's not well governed by standards, the more standards emerge, the more problems emerge, the more you get this complex environment. I've been building web pages for 20 years that have, well, almost 20 years, that I've had to test against a dozen browsers to see if they're going to break. And unfortunately, email is starting to get into that. And the mobile devices are one of the big things that is driving that. If you bought a phone 3 years ago, you're running probably an older version of Android that probably has some bugs in it. And what's the solution? Either root your phone and upgrade that version of Android, or buy a new phone. That's the way the industry is handling that problem. They're saying, well, we just want you to buy a new phone every 2 years anyway to keep you locked into that 2-year contract. So market forces are kind of driving this to be
I still think we're letting down our end users. They don't understand all that technical gobbledygook. They say, you mean I can't work this thing and do my calendar? I mean, even the dumb thing like a delegate, you know, our CFO and deputy have delegated their calendaring to, and their email, everything to their assistant staff person. And now we're being told they can't do anything to the calendar. They have to tell the delegate to do it.
Or you can change the relationship and give, instead of making it a delegate, you can just give that person authoring permission.
Well, that's what we do with my boss and his staff person. But you know, the CFO's office is a little different. They actually delegate it.
Exactly.
She gets all 3 emails and all the calendars and everything. It just seems like if they've got the delegate feature, why doesn't the damn thing work?
Because it's software.
The only time that we use delegates really is if they really want to send mail on behalf of. But when it comes to calendaring, we're setting up their system. Well, editor, not owner, but editor.
It's an easier to manage relationship than delegate. Delegates, the way it's implemented is kind of broken. But if you read how a delegate was supposed to be implemented, you know what the definition of a delegate is? Someone that acts on behalf of the other person to the exclusion of the other person acting on behalf of themselves.
Yeah, the last part gets filtered out.
Right. But if you read it, that's exactly what it says, right? And we don't read it, we just kind of set this stuff up. We don't RTFN, right? So
I was trying to tell them.
I know, but it's a challenge.
Get a reserve salute.
I agree with you that there's a lot of pain in this space, and best practices are not going to get us all the way to relieving that pain. But you know, given the tools we have to work with, they're kind of the best thing we can do. You guys can go a lot farther than we can as a central IT organization to say, well, I want to relieve pain in my department, so I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to set some standards for desktops or for laptops for what client. I'm only going to roll out the supported clients because they'll have a better experience. Or I'm only going to, I'm going to give people, tell people, if you have an iPad, then you know, here are the rules of use when we give you the iPad. So you guys can actually go further than we can on this stuff. We have to do it at an institutional level, and we don't want to be making large mandates. We can't make that much large mandates across all of our different. So I guess part of this is the best practices is not where this ends. You guys can carry the ball farther down for your departments and help keep your people out of trouble.
And ultimately, getting 10 complaints about a calendar problem versus 1 complaint about having to change how they do things and no more complaints after that. You know, that's what's happening where we're at. They're complaining about how we're telling them to do it, but then it's working. And they're not actually having problems anymore. And so, you know, you're going to get some blowback no matter what method you take. It's a matter of minimizing.
But I feel you.
It is what it is.
Well, just to make sure Mac's not the only one who has some of these concerns.
No.
I suspect there are others in this room.
There are plenty. I have the same concern. I'm not, you know, it's not a perfect solution. But, you know, at the moment, we're trying to consider what can we do in the space, and this is as far as we thought we could go without setting a lot of standards and stuff that would involve a lot bigger conversation, a lot harder decisions, and a lot more angry people at the moment.
I'd say that's why the health system doesn't do what we do. We do kind of draw the line and don't open it up to everything.
But you have HIPAA and other regulatory
right, so we
hammers.
We can lean on that, but at the end of the day, it's how can we get our jobs done.
Right.
Sean.